So what's going on with old Eddie Hearn, eh? Now we love Edward. He's held the title of the world's best boxing promoter for a number of years, but now... well, can he still claim that crown? It's up for debate, isn't it? I mean, where do we start? He got smashed up in the 5 versus 5. His golden goose old AJ got his head walloped about by Daniel Dubious. His reign over the British scene looks to be withering away. The stable's not quite as juicy as it used to be, and he just don't seem arsed these days about fighters leaving him and jumping ship, which has seemed to be the case very often in the past few years. I don't know. I don't quite understand it myself. Maybe all this is why he started an old Ben Shalom the other day. He's just got the right hump with it all. He's probably thought, well, I've got no fighters. I'll start picking fights me fucking self. Fuck knows. Anyway, before Masood beat Liam Davies the other day, Eddie was on a mega losing streak. I mean, he's turned into the Derek Chisora of promoters, ain't he? He keeps on losing, but keeps offering a fucking bout. Now, of course, that's not his fault. Losses happen, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a total plug. I know he's still doing alright. He ain't going to be fucking signing on anytime soon. It's not about the money, it's more about his movements with Matchroom of late. To start with, let's look at the stable. Now, back in the day, heavyweight-wise, he was absolutely flying. He's always had AJ on the books, but on top of that, he's had Usyk, White, Chisora, Zhang, Parker, Bacoli, Wardley, Dakers. Yet now, what's he got? Okay, he's got AJ, then he's got Johnny Fisher, who's tipped for big nights in the future. Big up the run football, but then it ends with Pooney. Yeah. Then compare that to old Frankie Boy's stable. Have a look, it's the bee's bollocks, innit? So why is Edward seemingly not too fussed about his heavyweight stable these days? I thought it was the glamour division, bruv. What's going on? Why is he not gobbling up a load of up-and-coming stars? Why is he not trying to hold on to some of the big draws who've left him in recent times, like Zilly Zhang or Fabio Wardley? Why the bloody hell did you let Fabio go? What a major cock-up. And then you got the lower weights, people like Lee Wood, who after beating Warrington was in the absolute pinnacle of his career, looking like he was about to sell out arenas in his next fight, but then all of a sudden he's gone very quiet and potentially has moved on as well. So why has Eddie not fought tooth and nail to keep him sweet? Then Subriel Matias, he's apparently moved on as well. I know he lost his last fight, but he's still a big draw. Eddie weren't too fussed and let him go. Chantel Cameron, Devin Haney's not there anymore. Then you got Joe Cordina. Okay, he's still a part of Matchroom, but even so, he's apparently also feeling the effects of a seemingly unmotivated Edward Hernio.
What has been spoken about, if you can speak about anything?
Nothing. I haven't had a phone call of Eddie or Frank or whoever. So,
are you still with Matchroom?
Well, yeah. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for a phone call or something.
I mean, Frank Smith's here tonight.
Yeah, well, I just asked him then. I said, any fights? He went, well, you don't speak to me, Joseph. Well, it's not my job to speak to you. It's his fault to get me a fight, do you understand? Once I've lost, I didn't even have a phone call.
Yeah, so make of that what you will. I mean, okay, he did lose his last fight, then Shakur pulled out, and although a great fighter, he weren't the biggest draw prior to that anyway, but still, it's a little bit strange, isn't it? You don't often hear about a fighter having a lack of communication with Frank Warren, do ya? It just seems a bit skew-whiff when you remember this was the man who couldn't get through an IFL interview with Coogie Bear without saying how driven he was, how he's going to take over the entire world. I mean, he did used to bang on a fucking bit, to be honest, but you knew he meant it when he said it. And he even released a book called Relentless, didn't he? The man was on a mission and he was an absolute machine. But now we're beginning to wonder if the spark has gone. Whereas meanwhile... Oh, just look at him, would you? What an absolute top banana. He's aging backwards, the man, these days. Old Frank him in fucking button over here. He's unquestionably now the governor, well and truly on top of the world, and seemingly filling them Eddie Hearn motivational shoes. Now, luckily, they're the best of pals these days, and boxing's a better place because of it. But then again, maybe that's Edward's big problem. Maybe he just ain't got nothing to fight for nowadays. He ain't got to slate Queensbury in interviews or try get one up on them all the time. He's got no desperation to better their pay-per-view numbers or sell more tickets because the war has finally ended. And it's all got even more cushy now, by the way, since Frankie Boy's joining up with Dasney. Bloody blinding. Who'd have predicted that 5 years ago?
Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you. And listen, there's an upside on this, Demetrius. You're not fighting on an app. People are going to see you.
Love it. Our times change, eh? I'm fucking buzzing to see how this all plays out. And by the way, you'll be buzzing to see how this little ditty plays out. Yes, it's Boxing Showtimes, the ultimate app for passionate fans. This little beauty offers it all, from a detailed schedule to comprehensive information on each event, along with the tale of the tapes, fight times, ticket sources, up-to-date undercard lineups, and a boatload of technical overviews on each of your favourite fighters. Check out all the juicy details about the Fury Usyk rematch, plus much more. And make sure to read all the hot news stories bubbling up in the boxing world. Ain't it fucking blinding, eh? So use my promo code below for access to all the ad-free premium features, everything a boxing fan could ever need. Smashing. Now back to the vid. So anyway, back to the point. Is it simply a case of Edward not having the competition anymore, hence not having the need to be so competitive? To be fair to him, he has always said he won't be following in the footsteps of Frank Warren, Bob Arum, Don King and any other veterans in the game. In his own words, he'll be checking out and smoking a la-di-da on the beach long before his pension kicks in. And I can understand that. It must be a pain in the nipples dealing with boxers all fucking day, what with their egos, the negotiations, the greed. I mean, imagine having Conor Benn on the phone in the morning. "Oh, come on, mate, get me that Eubank fight. I'm half crashing it in the gym. I'm ready now. I just want to fight Eddie." Sorry, Eddie. And then half an hour later, you're speaking to Eubank Jr. "Come on then, Chris, how much do you want to fight Conor?" "Oh, I'm easy, Ed, I don't mind. Call it 20 million. 20 million? You on the fucking pipe? Well, that's what I'm worth these days. I mean, I was going to fight Canelo in my last fight. Yeah, but you didn't, did you? You went and fought Zerameta, you spud. Alright, fair enough. Call it 15 mil. Fuck off. Yeah, imagine that sort of thing every fucking day. It's bound to burn you out, innit? So what's the point in busting a blood vessel with all that rollicks when you don't really need to? Why do that when instead you can just coast along with this glorious Saudi setup that runs so smooth and allows you to leave a lot of the aggro behind? Maybe that's why there seems to be a lack of matchroom shows in the UK compared to previous years. Maybe he's had enough of all the headaches and his focus is on the easy stuff. And you know, I feel like it's even filtered through to AJ in a way. I'm struggling to get behind this apparent sacking off of the Dubois rematch in order to fight Fury down the line. I mean, come on, the whole way along all we've heard is AJ wants to be a three-time world champion. Nothing matters more than this. And then you get another opportunity to fight for the world title, an opportunity that probably was quite undeserved, by the way. But instead, we're told you're gonna swerve it. Of course I want to see AJ Fury as much as anyone else, but clearly this shows your sole intentions aren't actually geared towards the world title, because if they were, the rematch would have been made bare quick, you know. By the by, if AJ's thinking of checking out soon and he's a bit unsure about carrying on, then okay, fair enough, but we ain't had that impression quite yet, so it all comes back to this. If AJ 100% believes he wins that rematch, like he did against Ruiz, then he takes the fight immediately. As it stands, it just don't look like that's the case. But okay, yes, I will eat me words if the fight does get made. It wouldn't be the first time I've talked a load of bollocks. And don't get me wrong, old Edward Hearn is still doing some cracking stuff here and there. The Saudi shows are absolutely pucker. I know it ain't all his own doing, but still his input has helped to make them epic. Plus his work and investments into UK amateur boxing clubs has been terrific as well. So he has still got his finger on the pulse. But you can't help but think his finger's not as firmly on the pulse as it used to be. With Frank's cracking stable floating over to Dasney, hopefully that changes a bit and Frank can spur him on to make a few more cracking domestic dust-ups. Get the UK scene popping once again. I know I'm biased, but fuck it, I don't give a monkeys. Anyway, let me know your thoughts below. Maybe I'm way off, but if not, then it could be sad times. We really don't want to see this double legend losing his mojo, because he's too bloody good at his job when he's on the ball. Let me know what you're saying. Toodaloo for now.